So weekend of boxing ahead. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Edson. Hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So this coming weekend, Billam Smith against Riakporhe. A fight that I'm really looking forward to. But who's going to win? Now, many of the pundits, many of the experts out there are going for Riakporhe. They're saying, no, he's definitely going to win. It was a bit of a tussle last time out. I think it's about 5 or 6 years ago they fought, didn't they? And Riakporhe won on a points decision. Billam Smith has gone on to great things now, becoming the Cruiserweight WBO champion, of course, in recent years. He's had a title defense. Wasn't that really impressive in the last fight? And we've got many people saying, well, you know what? He always kind of makes a hard work of his fights, and maybe Riakporhe will come in and expose that. That's why a lot of people are going for Riakporhe. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that it's going to be as clear-cut as that. I think it's going to be a fair old dust-up, that's for sure. I'd like to say this is not going to go the full distance. I think it's going to be a knockout. Either fighter is capable of a knockout here. I've just got a feeling that Billam Smith is going to do it. He's going to dig deep, and he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. But as I say, I'm really looking forward to this fight this coming weekend. Really looking forward to the undercard as well. Chamberlain against Massey for the Commonwealth and European title as well. Be really interesting to see if Chamberlain comes out on that and whether he then goes the whole world title route, or whether he has to step back to a British title route and maybe get in with Chev Clark as well. That'd be very interesting. We've also got, don't forget, Vidal Riley waiting in the wings as well to see, well, who's he gonna fight next. He was trying to call out Isaac Chamberlain. You know, Chev Clark was getting in there as well. So there's a bit of a three-way kind of fight duel going on there, and we'll see what happens there in the future. But on the undercard of that, we've got Ben Whittaker in again as well, the big showman that has taken the internet by storm, or the boxing internet by storm over the last year as well. He's fighting the Arianka guy who stormed his press conference last time out, and well, he's got himself into a fight, and fair play to him. But it's always that thing about Ben Whittaker. Yeah, he's a showman. Yeah, he's been kind of, labelled as the next Prince Nassim Hamed as well. Even Naz has come out and said, well, you're just kind of copying really. And he's come out and said, no, I'm not copying. I'm doing my own thing as well. Look, we know it's about levels, isn't it? And as he steps up in levels, is he still going to be able to get away with the showboating as Prince Nassim did, and he did it fantastically well, and what a great fighter he was. But as he steps up, is he going to be able to continue this, or is he going to get caught? Because he does get caught quite a lot. In his last fight out, yeah, he was tested. He went the distance. He won the fight, no doubt. But, we're not talking British level. We're only talking areas level there at that stage. So, he's getting onto these cards. He's going to have to step up. He's going to have to keep on proving himself and keep on proving himself as he steps up the levels. It'd be very interesting to see how he gets on, not only in this fight, but the next fight. I'm not so sure that he's going to do so well in this fight. I think he's going to struggle against this opponent. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But a nice undercard there for the Billam Smith against Riakporhe fight. That's taking place at Crystal Palace, of course. All eyes of the football world are turned to the Euros this weekend, starting on Friday with Germany against Scotland, of course. So it's fitting that Billam Smith-Riakporhe fight is at Riakporhe's favourite football club, which is Crystal Palace. I mean, not so sure that's something to celebrate, but there we go. But anyway, so football fans are going to the Euros, but I'm sure some of will be sticking around for the boxing on Saturday night. Right. The other big boxing event is going on in the United States. Big card there, about 14, 15 fights or something. But the two notable fights, really, Tank Davis headline against Frank Martin. There's been some shenanigans behind the scenes there, hasn't there? Whether Tank Davis has been right to criticise not only the promotion, but maybe the other fighters on the card. So there's something bubbling beneath the surface, and you kind of wonder, is this the right fight for Tank Davis? Should he have fought some better opponents? Should he have fought other opponents a lot sooner? Should he have dodged other fighters? So it's it's a little bit up in the air whether this fight is a decent fight. Certainly the pundits, certainly the betting is all going towards Tank Davis, and I will go that way too. I really can't see him losing this fight. He is in the pound for pound list as well. A fantastic fighter, but you do kind of wonder about the opponents he's picking, and also, well, should he be fighting other fighters as well who are, are at his level, let's say. But we'll find out, won't we? The other really intriguing fight is Benavidez against Zvordik as well. Look, this is a decent matchup, no doubt. But look, I want to see Benavidez against Canelo. I want to see Benavidez against Bivol and Buturias. Turki Al-Sheikh from Saudi, he's also saying, look, yeah, Bivol, we're going to get you Benavidez in here as well at some point. So I kind of want to see these big fights. I'm not sure Benavidez on this undercard is the right place for him. I think he should be headlining as well. So be very interesting to see what goes on. I can't see anything but a Benavidez win here, I've got to say. But look, these two great cards this coming weekend. I've got to say, on the Tank Davis undercard, many of those fights I'm really not that interested. I'll be interested in the results and maybe get some highlights, but I'm not going to stay up all night just to watch those, I've got to say. Yeah, the Tank Davis fight, Benavidez fight, yeah, I'll be interested in those, but the others, can't say I'm really that interested. Let us know your thoughts on that. Certainly the Billam Smith against Riakporhe and the undercard fights, yeah, I'm interested in those and I'll be watching those as well. But obviously, I'm also looking at the football this weekend, which starts Germany against Scotland on Friday. What else has been happening in the boxing news? Well, the big news coming out a couple of days ago is that apparently Saudi Arabia, Turkey Al-Sheikh POF, they want to set up their own boxing league. But what does this mean? What does this mean for the rest of the commissions, the bouts? Is this just another bout that's going to come on the line? Is this going to be like a UFC type thing? Who knows? But the reaction to this has got to be from the, you would say, like from the WBC, WBA, WBO, IBF, IBO even, let's say. The fifth belt holder, if you even consider it about, right? They're going to be thinking, what the hell is going on? And also the fighters and the promoters and the managers, where do they stand? Are they going to be able to go to this boxing league? How well are they going to be paid? Are they going to be banned from competing for the other bouts, if they go to this boxing league? How often will they be fighting? How many fighters will the boxing league need in their stable to make this a going concern where people are going to be invested to want to watch this? They're going to have the really big names to want to go over there. Many of those big names, I'm sure, will not want to go over there. There's a lot of those American fighters who, they're not really that interested in going over there. They want everything to be in the United States. They're not great travelers, a lot of the American fighters. Sometimes they have been, but not all of them. So it'd be very interesting to see how that develops, how the kind of politics plays out. Look, many people have always said, and I kind of always said this as well, having 4 or 5 world champions is ridiculous, and interim world champions. It gets too confusing. It's a nonsense, really. You got WBC, then you got IBF champion, and they're, we're world champions. Well, who is the world champion? Even people make the comparison with the UFC. Say, UFC is the world champion, right? Well, they're not. They're only the world champion under the UFC platform. What about PFL? What about ONE? What about all the European fighters as well? Just because they don't fight in the UFC doesn't necessarily mean that the UFC champion is the world champion, is the best out there. So the same argument has always been for the bouts, the 4 major bouts, right? Well, who is actually the world champion? Well, let's say Usyk now is undisputed. Inoue, Crawford, undisputed. You could say, hand on your heart, that they are the world champion. But it takes so long for this to happen. Maybe with this boxing league, maybe it's just another way to say, no, we're going to see the best of the best come in here, not sanctioned by these other boxing commissions. You're going to come in here and we're going to see who the best of the best is. That's intriguing. That's exciting. Let's just see what happens. But it's the reaction from the other bouts, the commissions, the governing bodies around the world, but also the promoters and the managers. Where do they fit into this? If it's all taken in-house, then you don't need a promoter anymore. You don't need managers. Well, You don't really need managers anymore. You know, to negotiate fights. Because it's all going to be in-house. So how's that going to play out? Is there going to be a lot of friction? We always knew that Saudi Arabia were going to do more than what they were started with, you know, bringing us these big boxing fights. The question is, this next step, is it going to be welcomed? And what will be the reaction from everybody else around the world when it finally materializes, when we really fully see what this is going to be? But if this means it's just going to be another bout, another competition, then I've got to say I'm really not that interested. Unless we're seeing world champion against world champion, unless we're seeing unifications, unless we're seeing, you know, a whole card of world champions. Like I said in my previous video, if Turkey Al-Sheikh, if they can bring us these mega cards that will only be within this boxing league, fine. I'm all in. I'm all in. But if it's just going to be another bout that's going to compete, and you're going to have some fighters going that way and some fighters going the other way, it's a bit of a nonsense to me. Let us know your thoughts on that. The other big news here this week is obviously that Jake Paul is not fighting Mike Tyson. That's been postponed until November time something now because of Mike Tyson's health issues, of course. But then we kind of think, oh, okay, well, should that have ever been a fight anyway? You know, so yeah, I've made a video about that already. But the stand-in for this is Mike Perry, right? Mike Perry's come from UFC, didn't do so well there really, then went to bare knuckle boxing, done great there. He's a champion there, 5 undefeated fights. But my problem here is that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson went to Netflix. They sold the idea that they knew that the boxing fans around the world may or may not want to watch it. We probably don't buy into it, but the wider world would definitely want to watch this. Mike Tyson is one of those crossover names that not only combat sports fans, but members of the general public know who he is. Even if you're not a boxing fan, you will know who Mike Tyson is. Just like you will know who Muhammad Ali is, right? He's a crossover name. Everybody knows who Mike Tyson is. That's why Jake Paul went after him. It's a massive name. That's why Netflix entertained this. It was a massive name. Selling out a 90,000-seater stadium, selling pay-per-views all around the world, launching Netflix into this boxing arena. Yes, it all made sense from a commercial point of view, from an eyes-on point of view. It made perfect sense. Now Mike Tyson's out of it. It doesn't make sense in that context for Mike Perry to come in. The only reason Mike Perry comes in terms of a competition, making it a competitive fight, makes perfect sense for combat fans, right? Boxing fans. But even boxing fans, you kind of look at that and you go, well, Mike Perry isn't a great boxer. He's not a great boxer, right? And Jake Paul isn't a great boxer. So you think, well, maybe they're at the similar kind of level. Maybe then it would be competitive. But if you're a real boxing fan, you kind of think, well, hold on a minute. If Jake Paul has always said, oh, he wants to go up to world champion, right? He wants to go that route, professional boxing, then give us a proper boxing contest. But the problem is his hands are tied now because he's dialed into this Netflix event. He has to produce somebody that can sell a show that is going to be competitive. Okay, so we got the competition now at your level, at Mike Perry's level. Okay, I'll get it. There's a lot of intrigue from the bare knuckle boxing fans, I'm sure. There's a lot of intrigue from UFC. There's a lot of intrigue from general combat sports fans, boxing fans, right? We kind of understand the levels, right? Get it. But it's not the show, is it? It's not the extravaganza that Netflix and Jake Paul and Mike Tyson was going to deliver. So it fails on that. So it brings back a bit more of a combat sports credibility, competitiveness challenge, but it fails on that big spectacle. So you kind of wonder what the hell is going on here. I understand that, you know, maybe Netflix, maybe they're under a bit of pressure themselves. They've come under scrutiny for this baby reindeer fiasco and questioning their decision making here. Now you want to question their decision making and whether they should continue this event. Why do they need a stand-in on this event? Maybe they just scrap the event, wait until Mike Tyson comes in, But maybe they're under contract. Maybe they've got deadlines. Maybe they're already down the road too far. So it brings into question their decision making again. Well, hold on a minute. Why have you invested so much effort into a 27-year-old against a 57, 58-year-old? It was always going to be subject to health issues and, so many external variables that can affect this, or whether this fight would ever take place. So putting all your eggs in one basket, this has come to bite your ass now. Now you're drafting in a bare knuckle boxer. Great. A lot of eyes will come into it, but it's not going to sell a 90,000 seater stadium. And it's certainly not going to have the pay-per-views around the world that you thought that Mike Tyson would bring. So all of a sudden it's failing already. The model is failing. What you probably should have done is just cancelled the event, postponed it for when Mike Tyson comes back online, as it were, and maybe as an MVP promotion from Jake Paul, and maybe from Netflix, just downsize it and take it to another event. So we're going to have this as an initial boxing event. Netflix, yeah, we're going to sell pay-per-views, but it won't be as much, and we're going to move it to, let's say, a big arena somewhere. Yes, still in Texas or whatever, but it's not going to be the big football stadium. It could just be that you just downsize it. But no, it seems as if they're going to go all in on it as well. I'm not so sure this is the right way to do it, but there we go. So Jake Paul's now fighting Mike Perry. Yeah, maybe more of a competitive fight. I'd definitely have Mike Perry on that to win. But hey, let's see what happens. I still don't see why Mike Tyson, should be stepping into the ring with Jake Paul. I'm sure many people agree, but I'm sure many people out there would disagree as well. I really don't know what's the point of that fight. I'm more interested now to watch Jake Paul against Mike Perry, in all fairness, than I am against watching Jake Paul against Mike Tyson. But then again, I am looking at this from a combat sports fan, from a competitive fighting sports fan, and not from just somebody who wants to watch some kind of spectacle, some kind of circus show, right? So that's my angle. But look, Saudi Arabia, they're going all in on the boxing now, it appears, and they want to expand it even more. We got these freak boxing events that Netflix want to get involved in. We've got to see what happens there. The whole model of boxing seems to be changing from lots of different quarters. It seems to be being pulled in different directions from different countries, different promoters, different viewing platforms as well. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens in the next 12 months, even a couple of years, let alone 5 or 10 years, and how the sport evolves and where you're going to be able to watch it and who's going to be fighting who in the future. I mean, let's face it, at this stage, you could have Jake Paul resurrecting Gandhi at this point and say, right, let's have a fight and see what happens. I mean, it's just bonkers, isn't it, really? But anyway, Jake Paul is going to fight Mike Perry, apparently. Are they going to do it at some kind of catch weight? What's going to happen? I'm not convinced it's a great idea either, but there we go. So he's fighting Mike Perry. The undercard for that fight is going to continue, so at least other people are getting to fight as well. We've got some decent cards coming up this coming weekend, but some interesting thoughts on the Davis and Frank Martin fight as well, and also the whole undercard, and see, well, how many fights are on there, and are they great fights, really? Got Saudi Arabia doing their thing, and let's not forget that Tyson Fury has been face planting the curb this week after a drunken stupor as well. What do we make of that? I mean, it's all going off in the boxing world, isn't it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.